Welcome to the podcast. As I just mentioned, we have Sammie and Hannah, Big Ten second team players of the year. Women, welcome to the NTV News Sports Central podcast.
Hello, thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Awesome. I'm going to start with you, Hannah. As I mentioned to you off podcast, I want to get to know you beyond just the X's and O's of playing on the softball field. But to get to that point, let's start with this. Hannah, what started your interest in wanting to play softball?
Um, I always played softball like growing up. I mean, I played t-ball and then I played on like our little town team when I was like when Lauren and I were like 8, I think. So my mom coached the team and then my mom also played softball. So I feel like we just got into it because she played and so we just tried it. And then after about playing on my town team for a couple of years, then I kind of decided like, okay, like I kind of want to take a step up. So then we joined a select team, and we were literally like the worst people on the team ever. We never played. So we joined our select team, and then from there, we just started working really hard, and then kind of realized when we got to like 14, like the whole softball thing was going to kind of work out. And like there was like our dream of playing college softball was a little bit more attainable than it probably looked when we were like 12. So that's kind of how it started, just playing from a really young age. It is in my family's background a little bit. So
So I'm gonna give you a follow-up question, and we'll go to Sammy
yeah.
because you brought up your sister, twin sister, many people know, also plays for the Cornhuskers. So what's it like going from playing, like Pee Wee softball to now playing D1 high-level softball with your sister?
Oh, it's so cool. I mean, it's the best thing ever just to see us grow up together and have the same dreams when we were 8 and to get to see each other achieve them now when we're 20 years old. It's our biggest blessing and I'm so thankful for it every day that we get to do it together.
And Sammy, what's it like to play with twin sisters?
It is so cool, actually. It's actually an ongoing joke that like me, Hannah, and Lauren were actually triplets, and they go along with it too. But I love the twins, and I'm so grateful that they came to Nebraska, and it's just been a great journey.
And what made you start playing softball when you were younger?
So kind of the same thing. Like my mom played softball, so she played softball growing up, and then she did a year at Arizona State. So when I was younger, she kind of just threw me into softball. I didn't really like have any interest. She just kind of threw me into it, and then I began to love it, and then I was doing it every day. And then I was playing soccer and softball at the same time. So then I had to come to a decision like which one I was going to choose, and I chose softball. So now I'm here.
I would say you made the right decision, and
Yes.
we'll dive into that a bit later. But you're like me. You're from California. For the
Mhm.
Nebraska fans watching, she's from Chino Hills. I'm from Irvine. It's about 30 miles away. However, in Nebraska, it's very flat land. Where we
Mhm.
live, there's a mountain in the way to get over it.
Yeah.
But I used to play at the Field of Dreams all the time. I grew up playing baseball. It's a really cool field. It's like all the
Uh-huh.
different baseball fields. So, what was it like for you having to transition from playing softball in California to moving to Nebraska to play softball?
One, the weather, that was a
Yes.
big one, but my through my freshman year, I've actually gotten used to it. So I think like learning how to layer in the weather, but also just like being away from home, obviously like Nebraska's, I would say it's way different than it is here. So I think I've just kind of learned to get uh like comfortable with the uncomfortable, like being away from home, being away from family. So that's how I've kind of like gotten used to it and like kind of embrace the change.
And you're away from In-N-Out. And I know there's a big debate, is In-N-Out a good burger or not? So I want to hear your thoughts. Do you miss In-N-Out?
Yes, I do. I'm actually home in California right now.
Was that the
So,
first thing you got when you got off the plane?
uh, I drove and we drove all the way home from Nebraska to Chino Hills, and I wanted to get in and out like on the way back because I saw like four, and my dad was like, "No, we're just going home." But the day after, I got it for lunch, and then I think I got it the day after that too.
So whenever I
But,
go home, the first
yeah.
thing I do ask my parents is, please, can we stop at In-N-Out? So no, they know not to make me dinner that night, so that way I can have
Mhm.
In-N-Out. But good for you. What is that? A 30-hour drive home?
It's 2021.
21.
Mhm.
Okay, I put a day onto it, but that's impressive. I give you credit.
Thank you.
Now, on the opposite side, Hannah, you're actually from Valley, Nebraska. Although you didn't start your career at Nebraska, you went to go play D1 at Arkansas, and then you transitioned over. What made you want to come back home?
I think just like Lauren and I, we put our first years at Arkansas. We had awesome experience. It was great to play in the SEC, but then we kind of after our sophomore year, we just kind of talked to each other, and it was kind of like, what do we want for our last 2 years of college? And ultimately, we decided to come home, and it was one of the best decisions we ever made. I don't think I realized being away from home how much I needed to be home. Honestly, it's been so cool just to play for my home state and get to see my family and friends in the stands literally every game. Like every game, my neighbors come, my cousins come. Obviously, my parents get to come to everything. So that's just been really cool. But just to represent Nebraska and be a Husker has literally been my dream.
So when you all were looking to come back, or any schools you're looking at, did you say we're a package deal to come
Yeah.
down?
It was always that way, even like the first time around, like recruiting throughout high school. We always told each other, like, our dream was to go together, but we never wanted the other one to feel like, oh, if we went to this school and you didn't like it, like you have to come here because we are a package deal. We always said like, if you went to a school and you didn't like it, like I wouldn't expect you to come here just because I liked it. Now, fortunately, it worked out that both times around we found a school that we both fell in love with. So really grateful for that.
And I love that. My best friends are twins. They're guys,
Oh
and
yeah.
they done everything together. Like they just now are starting to get married, and their first times are not living together. And it's like so cute the breakup they're having with their wives. They're like, "Oh my God, we miss you." I'm like, "You guys can just see each other every day." So like, I get the bond that you probably have with your sister.
I know it's funny to be like in that point of life now where it's like that time's coming for us where when we're done playing, we might have to go our separate ways or this way, but it'll be interesting. I literally told my parents, I'm like, so we're probably gonna have to have like a fight over like who gets what clothes and who gets what from the apartment.
I remember watching Oprah back in the day, and there were like triplets, and they cut holes in their fence, so they all shared one dog, and they all could just hang out in the same cul-de-sac. So that could be
Oh,
you
that's
guys.
funny.
But to take it to back to Samantha, Sammie for a second, to take it to your season, because I really wanted to just highlight, you set a career high in runs, hits, total bases, home run, average, OBS, slugging. So you had a fantastic year on top of transitioning over to a new position playing third base. So the first question would be like, what did you do to really focus on getting better between year one and year two at the plate? And then we'll talk about defensively.
Um, so I'll talk about like the little hitting like the no hit streak that I had for a while. Like there was a time when I was just like completely down, like not feeling my swing at all, and all I wanted to do was like curl up in a ball and like figure it out. But eventually ended up figuring it out. And like I would say one thing I did was just honestly constantly hit with Miller, our hitting coach. And that's all I was focusing on. And I'm a little superstitious. So I was like, I need to hit with Miller 2 or 3 times a week. Or if I don't, then I'll like go over 10 this weekend. So all I was worried about was hitting with Miller so I could hit well and like hit well during the weekends for my team and get some runs in. I had no idea that I had any of those like milestones that I had a career high of any of that. I was just trying to like uh hit with Miller and get my batting average up.
Well, I'm happy to be the one to tell you. It's all on your profile on your Nebraska roster page. But for the potentially young girls or people who play softball watching, when you say hitting with Miller, like, can you give me some insight strategy? Like, were you focusing on like keeping your elbows in? Were you putting bat and barrel? Like, what did you do to try to make yourself a better hitter?
It honestly depended on the week. So we do like individuals. I would just text her and be like, "Can I hit with you before practice?" And it would only be like 20, 30 minutes, sometimes even 15. Like it depended like how I was feeling on my swing. If I had a good weekend before, sometimes we just watch film and we talk about like what I could do better when I have to continue doing. So it could be uh most of the time it was like staying over the ball or like keeping this elbow like through because sometimes I have like a little like pull open. So it's just like continuously doing like certain drills to make sure I'm consistent.
I love that. And then obviously transitioning to third base, and you play there basically every game. What was that like to have to play the hot corner?
It took a little getting used to. I would say like in my exit meeting we talked about like I turned into playing third base to becoming a third baseman. So I'd say it took a while to get used to, and I kind of just embraced it, like I said, like kind of being comfortable with the uncomfortable, and then I like learned to love it. Like I was just like, man, this is my spot. I love this. I love crashing on punts. I love getting hot shots like right at me. Like I just learned to love it.
I love to hear that. And then Hannah, for you, let's see if I can surprise you with some records I found about yourself. So your freshman year, you pitched 60 innings at Arkansas. This year, you pitched 63, so you set a career high. However, you had 24 strikeouts your freshman year, 25 strikeouts your sophomore year. This year, you had 47. So my first question to you is like, what did you focus on to basically double the amount of strikeouts you're able to get?
Honestly, I didn't know I doubled it. So, but I think a lot of it was just working with Sipple and Coach Ravel and just really learning to trust my stuff again. I feel like a little bit there my freshman to talk. I was a freshman, so I was like a little bit nervous at times, but I think just learning to trust myself and trust it to throw it through the zone. At times I would try to skate around the zone a little bit and try to make the hitters get themselves out, but just really having the confidence in my own pitching, my own stuff to just throw it through the zone and trust it and know that it's going to work.
And then that takes the other part. You're not just a pitcher, you're a utility player. You play in the field as well, and you hit really a five-tool player. So hitting wise, to me, the most impressive stat I saw this year was in your first 2 years hitting, you had one home run. This year, you had 10. And I know that there's no way you don't know that as a significant
Yeah.
increase because that's massive, even double digits. This also coincided with the team, Nebraska itself, going from 63 home runs last year to 107 this year. So first off about you, like how did you focus yourself at the plate to hit basically 10x more home runs over the course of 1 year?
Honestly, at the beginning, I hit one in my first 2 years, and I didn't think I'd hit another one. I was like, okay, I'm fine with just like hitting base hits. And then I think it was like at the beginning of the year, I hit like two of them in a tournament, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I was so surprised, like I hit another one. So to think I'd be at 10 was crazy, but I think most of it honestly just came from me figuring out how to use my legs and kind of like sink them in with my upper half. I think early in my career, I just really relied on my arms and my upper half of my body to get my power. And then this year, I feel like I really figured out how to get my legs to work with that. And then I'd also just say the strength room here, like to go off the whole team home run numbers, that we came back early in July and we got to work in the weight room with our strength coach, Rusty. And I think that just showed a lot of our home runs I think came from that. Like we worked super hard July all the way through the end of the year, and I feel like a ton of us just got a lot stronger.
And obviously you came with the transfer. Sammie, you were there for the past 2 years. What do you see? How did the team change really focusing on hitting for more power this year?
Um, I would say like we've like coming back early is what Hannah said, like really helped us like think like, oh, we got to get more power for like our hitting. Cause like as when I was a freshman, like the freshmen didn't have to come back early because like we were playing travel ball still. So this past year was actually my first year doing like coming back early for the summer and then working out. And I think working out with Rusty really helped us get a lot of power. Like we were working out like during the week before Super Regionals, still lifting, still squatting, trying to hit home runs. So I think just like getting in our legs and then also our warm-ups. Like our warm-ups are these bands that literally get your legs tired before the game that help us get into our legs.
And obviously, as you go into a deep season, a deep postseason run, I'm sure that really helps you because you have conditioning.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
for both of you, I'll start with you, Sammie. I'd never met Coach Ravel before I came here, and I got to interview her in the press room a couple times. And I actually got her to tear up, and I asked her about the team chemistry and when you guys Gatorade bathed her, water bathed her after winning the regionals in Louisiana, and just I was a D1 athlete. I played college lacrosse. Like the emotion that that coach brings makes me want to run through a wall. I would love to play for a coach like that. So, like, what's it like to play under Coach Ravel?
It is great. Like I have no words. Like she's just a great coach. Like her emotion and just like everything she brings to the table is just everything I would ask for in a coach. I said like when I committed here out of high school, like she and all everybody else on the coaching staff were the reason that like I went to Nebraska. So just playing for her has been a dream.
Anything to add, Hannah?
I would say the same thing. Obviously, this past season was my first year in Nebraska, but I went to tons of camps when I was younger. But I would just say, like, that's truly how much she cares about each and every one of us. And like not only does she care about us as a softball player, but she cares about us as a person, and that's how much she cares about the University of Nebraska. Like she just, we talk about all the time, like we just want Nebraska to be good, and I just think that she pours her heart and soul, and so do all the other coaches, into this team, and their belief never wavered in us, whether we weren't playing well or we were playing our best. Like they were always there with 100% belief in this team and from day one. And I just couldn't be more thankful to play for a better group of people.
And basically, y'all are bringing back the same team besides two seniors next year who are starters, including Jordy Ball. Many people recognize her name for what she achieved. You know, y'all really represented Nebraska so well, as you just talked about, getting to the Super Regionals, beating Tennessee in the first game, losing, unfortunately, games 2 and 3. Taking the results aside, Hannah, just playing in that environment, like as a girl growing up, you dream of getting to the Women's College World Series and just playing in the Super Regional. What was it like to have that atmosphere around you?
Oh, it was so cool. I mean, even though half the stadium was against us,
I enjoy that
it was,
more. I was silenced doubters.
I know it was just so awesome. You know, coming from the SEC, I got to experience that a little bit, like through SEC play my first 2 years. But just to see that many people show up for a women's sporting event and for softball is just, it's just awesome. And I'll give a shout out to our parents and Husker Nation. They were right there along the way with us in Louisiana and at Tennessee. They were screaming as loud as they could, and just to see Husker Nation support us back home when we were at Tennessee. They played the game at Charles Schwab when the baseball team was in a rain delay. So
Mhm.
just to see the support that grew for our team as the season went along was just so awesome, and just so thankful that Husker Nation chose up for us and was supporting us.
And Sammie, that was your first time making an NCAA tournament run. What was that like for you?
It was a great feeling. Like I just loved every single moment of it. I loved our fans. I loved like Tennessee's fans. I loved all like Southeastern Louisiana fans. I just love that environment. So I think just like going into next year, I'm just ready for it.
And that's a great segue to the back half of the conversation. Going to next year, the goal obviously is to get to the Women's College World Series. What do you think individually, Sammie, you want to work on to continue to improve into year 3?
I would say for me, consistency is one thing I want to work on. So like just throughout the season, just being as consistent as I can to help my team score runs, help my team win, and like be that player in big moments is yeah, just what I want to work on.
And Hannah, what about for you?
I was going to say the exact same thing. Consistency. I'd say both. Just hitting wise, I started a little slow this year hitting. So just starting a little better and staying consistent throughout the year. And then I'd say the same for pitching. Just, I feel like at times it was there, at times I was a little slow. So just finding that consistency throughout the year to help my team in any way that I can.
I love that. And this will take me to the rapid fire question. So I have a bunch of questions, and you're only allowed to give a one sentence answer max. It could be one word, could be one sentence, but that's all you're allowed to give.
Okay.
So Hannah, we'll start with you. We'll go Hannah, Sammie, Sammie, Hannah. So we'll popcorn around. So the first question is, how would you describe the personality of this year's team?
Ooh. I'd say fiery.
You took our words.
Dang. I was literally gonna say that.
You can say repeat. That's not a problem.
I kind of want to say so. I'd say fiery, but I feel like there's another word in my head I just can't think of. I'll stay with fiery.
All right. Perfect. Who's the funniest teammate?
Emerson.
Kylie McGee.
Wait, Kylie McGee too.
Which person's the most sarcastic?
Ooh. I don't know.
Lauren. She's so sarcastic.
Okay, I was gonna say Lauren too, but I didn't want to say that because she's like my sister. But so she's like obviously more sarcastic to me.
She's so sarcastic. And
Well,
you
that's
just
how
have to
maybe
say
you
it.
you guys are different. There you go.
Yeah,
Who would be the one to have the ox on a road trip?
Me.
Sammy.
And what are you playing?
I'm playing everything hype. Sometimes I throw in like a singy, songy type, like Delta Dawn for Christian Paul. But I'm always playing something hype uh like Sexy Red or like Glorilla, anything rap.
So
So
you like that the 2020 rap?
yes, like But sometimes I throw in some like old stuff.
You gotta put that hyphy music in that Bay Area. Too short.
I do put on Bay Area, but then sometimes I don't know. But I don't know. I have a whole playlist.
Love it. Well, we
Mhm.
will need to get you to play that for us one day.
Mhm.
What's the best pregame meal that you had this year?
Acai bowls.
Acai bowls.
Is that something consistently, or was that more of a one-time thing?
I would say it's consistent.
Yeah, we got them quite a bit.
Mhm.
Are there any traditions that you follow since you've been a kid?
I have the same exact like duct tape zebra ball that my dad like drilled a hole into with like a string and then I could like put in my glove and like tie it around my glove. So I have the exact same ball and I've had it probably since I was like 8.
Did you
So I
know
wouldn't
this,
say
Hannah?
that's a tradition, but I would say I kind of is because I put it in my glove and I have to have it in like my game glove.
Mine's like more of a superstition. I've probably been doing it since I was like 12 or 13. My great grandpa used to carry like these beans in his pocket and he called them his lucky beans. And then my dad also carried them. So Lauren and I always carried them in our back pockets when we play.
Did you know this, Sammy?
I didn't know this.
Yeah. I feel like they actually talked about that on ESPN when
Mhm.
you were,
Oh yeah, probably.
yeah, it was something that came up. And then last question. Obviously, Husker Stadium is the best stadium to play in. What's your favorite away stadium to play in and why?
Hmm.
Mm.
In the Big Ten this year, I feel like Washington was really cool. Their
I would say,
stadium.
yeah, Washington was a beautiful field. Yeah.
Is it right on the Bay River?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like in the
My little brother went to UW, so I've been to a bunch of football games up there. So it's a really cool view. I just don't think I could live in the rain 8 months a year.
yeah, that part would be hard.
Yeah.
But I have one more question. So we'll start with you, Hannah, and then we'll go to Sammy. For anybody who potentially wants to get into softball or play softball, what would be one bit of advice you'd have for them?
I would just say to never let their confidence waver. I feel like in the game of softball and baseball and whatever, like it's a hard sport. You fail more times than you succeed, and I feel like that's the hardest part about it is to keep keep getting after it. And I feel like it's really easy for your confidence to waver if you're not getting the results you want. But I feel like having high confidence in yourself is what keeps you going and what keeps you succeeding in those moments. I would just tell them to never give up on themselves and just stay confident all the time.
Sammy, yourself?
Kind of the same thing. Like growing up, I wish that I had as much confidence as I do right now in college. So I'd say just play like no one's watching, like play like you don't care. Like not that you like don't care, but like play with all the confidence in the world, mistake or like no mistakes, like it doesn't matter. Like just go out there and give it your all. And if you make a mistake, just come back and like make the next uh play. So just like keep your confidence always in like one line.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for coming on. Sammy, if people want to follow you on social media, how can they find you?
My Instagram is Sammie Bland 29, but it's spelled Sammie. And then my Twitter is Samantha Bland, but with the extra D at the end. So that's my social media.
And
Mine's
yourself, Hannah?
Hannah.Camenzind, and then my Twitter is just the same thing, but Camenzind Hannah, so just the opposite way.
Awesome. And it will be popping on the screen right now. It's also in the YouTube so you guys can see it. Ladies, I hope you have a great summer. I can't wait to see you guys back here. Once you guys come back, I'm going to create some social content with y'all. We'll go to the batting cage and do some hitting and see how we do and some pitching. So I'm looking forward to having a great summer with y'all and then seeing how the next season goes. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you for having us.